Alright, so I wanted to have a completion with Kusak, so here it is. This is my first time actually doing the bird using Kusak, and he did not disappoint. I actually I actually thought he did pretty well. So this is the standard Megalda Matrona team. Um of course, if you don't have Megalda, then I wouldn't really run Kusak. I mean, you could still run him with the classic Green Gopher team, but you're not gonna get Green Gopher passive using Meliodas, so you have no volume. Um, I thought just, Kusak having two single targets and a good ultimate, he's basically the one, right? But the one thing is that Kusak can actually take off ultimate gauge if needed. So in this whole run, I took 0 ultimates, I believe. So that was pretty helpful. I don't think that this is any better than the run I had with Arthur. The only thing I think would be better for a lot of people would be that with Arthur, you're very dependent on Meliodas for damage, while Kusak can actually dish out decent damage as well. So it's not as dependent on Meliodas, but in a general sense, I still think the Kusak, does a lot of damage, but he's basically the one. So if you're gonna go with one or the other, just go with the one you have more dupes for, which I think a lot of people are gonna have more dupes for the one. Unless you got just incredibly unlucky on the melee banner, instead of pulling melees, you've been pulling Kusaks non-stop. Could happen, could very well happen. But I feel like more people are gonna have more dupes on the one than Kusak. Because the one's older, of course. But good option nonetheless. Here I stalled a little bit too much. I was like, okay, I don't want to use melee cards because, of course, I made a whole video on stage 1 the other day because I get so many tags on Twitter saying, oh, I have melee, but I can't beat phase 4 of the first stage. But yeah, I never, ever in the first stage use melee cards, melee single target cards. You can use AoEs, but never use the single targets. The single targets are strictly for the last phase. With this team, however, it's less necessary for you to be stalling so hard with Meliodas because you have 2 characters that have Power Strike ultimates, which even at 6/6 can do damage because Power Strike is just that powerful on that specific phase. So it's not as much of a worry, but it's just how I feel like you should be playing with melee when you play on this stage, but here I was like, oh man, I don't know what to use. I don't want to use the Kusak, cleave card because I could hold on for an next turn. I was like, gosh, am I going to kill with a single target? Because I have 5 buffs for him. Like this whole time you can see Megal has been healing and he's got 5 buffs. So this man's going to be hitting hard, right? And yeah, he one shot with, let's say one shot, but like he actually hit really hard with the single target that takes off ultimate gauge, which is notoriously a very shitty card for damage. So that was very strong. That was very impressive, actually. Here, I wanted to maybe see if I can, like, one-turn him. Because, of course, Kusak's ultimate is not just Power Strike, it's also I forgot the actual name of the effect. But if this was the one, I would have actually killed. Because my Kusak is 6/6, right? And I don't know the name of the effect. I'm actually opening... I don't know the name of the effect because I just don't use it. This effect has only 2 characters. Abyss. Abyss. Yeah. The Abyss on Kusaks is like 50% of damage if you're 6/6 and 25 if you're like 3 to 4/6. So the Abyss is not nearly as strong as Death. Death is just a broken like effect for an ultimate. So the one's ultimate right there would have actually killed the phase. But it wasn't really a problem. I only really like killing phase 3 fast because it's scary to like have the bird on phase 3 remove Melee's buffs because you really want to have them for the next phase. But it turned out well because he still attacked Matrona even though Matrona wasn't taunting. But in the general sense, you want to kill that phase like as fast as possible, if possible in the first turn. But yeah, stage 2, I mean, stage 2, I think it's the easiest one. All you gotta do really is just make sure that you have Matrona's taunt for the second phase. Even so, I saw a picture, or it was a video. Someone tagged me on Twitter. I should have actually screenshotted it. It was a little while ago. Someone said that you can actually tank the phase 2 AoE attack if you have Arthur and full melee passive. Oh, I need to find that video. It's in my mentions on Twitter. It was like, I was like, whoa, no way. I think I even retweeted. If not, I'm stupid. But yeah, you can tank that AoE with Arthur. The Arthur team is so nasty. The Arthur team is actually nasty. Again, you do really rely on Melly's damage. Because Miguelda is not terrible for damage, but she's really here for... I found it. I found it. I didn't retweet it, but I liked it. Wait, I need to show this. I know in the middle of this, but I need to show this. Look. This is the second phase, right? He paused it. This is the attack, because he goes like he does that whole little thing, the little thingy thing, and then he does the AoE, right? No taunt. You can see Matrona has no taunt. Look at those damage numbers. But it survives the one-shot AoE. The bird full heals though. Like you can see, he full heals. Because of I think he has like full-on stats. So like he healed like 658k. So ideally, you don't want to be taking that, right? You definitely don't want to be taking that in any case, but you can survive it. If worse comes to worse, you can survive it. That's crazy. So yeah, bro, I mean, I'm doing this with Arthur here, but legitimately I'm sorry, with Kusak here, but that Arthur team was just so nasty. The damage reduction gets so crazy. And with Kusak here, I got a very bad roll at the end, but his ultimate was very good for it. So, you know, phase 2, I did get a taunt, thankfully. I actually did have to reset this one because I didn't get a taunt. So I was like, okay. It's like most of the time at this point when I'm using like Melee, Megalda, and Matrona, which is like the Melee, Megalda, Matrona is the strongest thing you can use for the bird. It's just there's no second place. It's like the strongest thing, and then second place is like so distant behind it. Megalda, which is a character that I publicly shamed for being bad, has become like one of my favorites to run because of Meliodas. It's crazy. Meliodas is actually so good. But here, there's not much of a need to hold on to your melee single targets, so I just popped in one. Yeah, because, I mean, Megalda, you know, by herself, she's not that impressive, right? Her ultimate is very good. But her single targets, they always disappoint. I always think she's going to hit much harder than she actually does, even in 5 buffs. But it's the insane amount of buffs on top of Melly's head that just keeps her being like legitimately the best raid support in the game right now. Not raid, bird support. This is a raid? Can you call this a raid? In the game definition, it's not a raid because things that wouldn't work in raids work here. But I guess a raid in this game definition is only like if you use strong more players, right? Phase 3. I think I wasn't paying attention. Listen, I do stage 2. Not even paying attention. But I do believe, yeah, I got Kusak's ult here, and I'm like, oh, should I save for the next turn? Because I could have definitely, like, one-shot phase 4. Because phase 4, you know, it's not... Phase 4 of floor 2 is not very scary. Not nearly as scary as phase 4 of stage 1 or phase 4 of stage 3. But it hits you decently hard, so I actually choose to go with Kusak's ultimate, because I think if I have Kusak's ultimate, I can definitely one-turn it, right, because of Kusak's Abyss. I just remember the name. But it was a little bit disappointing. I just forgot that Abyss is 50%. It's a little unfortunate. You know, the ultimate has Power Strike, which is really good, but it still didn't, like, it didn't even do damage cap right there. Even though he has Power Strike. And Abyss almost kills it. If it was death, it would have killed. See, that's what I'm saying, like, between Kusak and the 1, I do prefer the 1. Only because the ultimate is much stronger. Like, again, the only reason why I would use Kusak over the 1 in this specific stage would be for the fact that Kusak can take off ultimate gauge. I do really like Kusak. I used to be a Kusak hater, but you know, after Ban became meta, it became really hard to hate Kusak because he was so good against Ban. I'm a bit of a Kusak hater, but it's just that, you know, in comparison, right? You have this other double single target blue character with a single target ultimate. Like Kusak and the 1 are very comparable. The biggest difference being that Kusak can take off ultimate gauge and the 1's ultimate is better. That's like the main difference, because I mean, the second the one attack skill, the one that, you know, would be comparable to Kusak's Take Off Ultimate Gauge, hits harder than the Take Off Ultimate Gauge card, but I never really think of that card as a card that hits hard, even though it has a high multiplier. The one that isn't Flood. The one card that isn't Flood. I don't know, I feel like that card never really hits hard for me. I don't know why. But it wasn't bad regardless. I think, you know, bro, Andy is a Japanese player, right? Who is like insane at the bird. He finds out so many good combinations. He's done the bird with 3 characters, which I'm probably gonna do. Right now I'm focusing all the time. I'm trying to get to 10 million box CC because I might as well. I'm not doing anything. So I'm wasting a lot of time on that. But I'm gonna try to do that as well. It's probably gonna take a lot of attempts. He beat the floor 3 with 3 characters. He used Meliodas, Megalda, and Matrona. That's how good this combination of characters is. This is what I'm saying. This is the best combination of characters for the bird, and there's the second place is so far below. It's not even close. Like the second place would probably be, you know, Gringalfer, Brynhilder, and Meliodas probably. But bro, it's not even close, man. It's not even close to Megalda plus Meliodas, which is again insane because I was a big Megalda hater. And listen, I'm defending myself, rightfully so. She sucked. Like Megalda legitimately sucked. Until Melly came out. So but now that he came out, it's one I always was saying, like, I don't like Megalda right now, but I know for damn sure this unit is like preparing for a future character. I know for damn sure she is. And it's the same thing that happens like a lot of times with characters. Like right now, recently we got that Liz, that Christmas Liz, which is pointless. That character is legitimately pointless in the game. Like, yeah, you can beat the time stages a bit faster. Cool. But you know, we were doing that before she came out. But I'm thinking we'll give it a few weeks and she's gonna have like a really strong purpose. Alright, this is where the stage 3 becomes a bit difficult. So here I was like, sometimes I'm like thinking Kusak is gonna hit really hard with the ultimate. And he does hit decently hard, but I'm really disappointed always in the Abyss. I think the Abyss should have been 2 turns, not just 1. You know? Because King's Abyss was very strong. Because it was AoE, right? So the Abyss would count for every single hit that he did. And then it would last 2 turns. Right? Kusak's Abyss lasts only 1 turn, even at 6/6. And it's only 50%. It's like, It always disappoints me a little bit. I still think that the ability to take off Ultimate Gauge is really good though. So I try to go as fast as I could through phase 2, although I could have actually stalled a bit in phase 2 because there was not much of a rush. The biggest thing about phase 2 is that the ultimate that he dishes on you is very strong. It takes off all your buffs as well. So in a team like this, you definitely don't want to deal with something that removes your buffs. But Kusak is there and he can take off Ultimate Gauge, so it wasn't the biggest deal. I could have actually stalled a bit longer, so maybe I should have. But it turned out well in the end anyway, so it's not that big of an issue. For phase 3, obviously, you want to kill him as fast as you can. Ideally, before 2 returns, because he seals your stuff, and he seals first stances, and then debuff cards, and then buff cards. And ideally, you don't want to be sealed on buff cards because of Matrona here. But even if you do, it's not that big of a deal. It's not as big of a deal as if you were using, like, Gelfer, for example. So right here, he took off the ultimate from the bird, which was really good because this ultimate does hit pretty hard, especially because he's getting the attack buffs. So that was pretty nice. Again, like, I do think that this Kusak has its use from taking off Ultimate Gauge. I think it's really good. I don't think he's better than the one. Or even Brynhilder for that matter, because Brynhilder's ultimate heals and it's really good. Have I used Brynhilder with this team? I think I have. Have I? I don't know. It's probably going to be really good. So here I'm like, Kusak has to kill, right? I'm like so confident. I'm pretty sure I ult with melee here. No, I didn't. Okay. I was thinking of ulting with melee. I was like, I think Kusak kills. Unfortunately, He didn't. So thankfully I attacked with Vegelda and not Meli's ultimate. But I was really confident Kusak was gonna kill. I guess he just didn't. See, if he was the one, he would have killed. Man, I was hoping to big up Kusak, but watching the gameplay back, I'm like a little disappointed in what he's doing here. Only because I have the one as comparison, and the one that hits harder. Of course, I should have mentioned, my Kusak is like decked out. Like, he has everything maxed out cosmetics wise. He has attack crit, you know. Here was good though. If I had the one, this wouldn't be able to be possible. So I mathed out that two damage caps plus half of a damage cap would not actually make the bird full heal, because right here I got the passive that the bird full heals if it goes below 25%, right? And I mathed out in my head that 2 damage caps plus 50% of a damage cap should not be less than 25. And I actually assumed Kusak was not going to hit damage cap because he wasn't hitting damage cap before, so I don't know why he would do it now. So I was like, okay, this should be fine. Right, and the bird should heal a little bit afterwards because he has some lifesteal. Yeah, he's doing that. And they shouldn't hit too hard. And so I was like, Kusak did exactly what I wanted him to do, right? But I still have this thing, you know, I can't hit him too hard and not kill him, because that would full heal. I was like, okay, this Kusak card, not gonna hit too hard, the level 1, right? It should be enough that if I hit damage cap, I kill. And perfect. That was absolutely perfect. So, that is Kusak, my first time using Kusak to beat the bird. I had to do it this week, so I thought, let me switch it up and use Kusak. I don't know if I recommend it though. Like, having used them now, I think, again, most people at this point would have more dupes on the Kusak, on the one, than they would have it on Kusak. And the one's ultimate is just simply better. I don't see a reason why you'd use Kusak over the one, other than the take off ultimate gauge part, which a lot of times the ultimates are not that scary from the bird anyways. And most of the time what's actually scary from the bird is just not following the gimmick, or his single targets a lot of times as well. So I don't know. But if you don't want to switch it up and use Kusak, it is a good option. I won't say it's a bad option. It's a decent option.